Last time, on Battle Angel Alita, Ito gave Alita a new body called a Berserker, an ancient weapons platform of terrible power. They looked to fellow hunter warriors for allies, to no avail as the cyborg cannibal Makaku revealed himself with a new powerful body. So the final confrontation between Alita and Makaku begins in Fight 5, Trap at the Mouth of Hell. Chapter 5 starts with a look at the damage Makaku did to the Kansas bar on the way in. The sign outside, hanging by a single wire now, falls and tumbles down the stairs into the confrontation between Makaku and Alita. Makaku notes Alita's new body, and she says that he's using scanners to detect her body. I'm pretty sure he could reason that one out based on her having more limbs than she did last time they met. That leads us into our chapter art, which is easily the weirdest and my least favorite of the bunch so far. I presume this is supposed to be a representation of Makaku scanning Alita. Maybe this was cooler in the 1990s when this originally came out, and this sort of imagery might have been more of a novelty, but it just looks like a pixelated mess of an image to me. It's also the only chapter art that's colored in this volume, which is interesting. I can tell you it looks much worse in grayscale. So Makaku keeps doing his creepy tongue thing as he describes what he wants to do to Alita. Rip off her limbs and turn her into a living pendant he can wear so he can hear her screams of anguish throughout the day. Alita's reaction is completely nonchalant. "Whew, you're kind of messed up, aren't you? You really can't imagine happiness any other way?" She just thinks this is sad, kind of pathetic, and curiously, Makaku seems to agree, referring to himself as a worm. More creepy tongue stuff, and baby Koyomi catches his eye. That makes him introspective, explaining that his life began in fear and pain, and he found the secret to conquering it was to pass that fear and pain on to others. For that, he needed power. Makaku threatens Alita with one of his grind cutters, but she kicks it away and starts dodging his every attack. Even as he increases his speed, she attacks by literally running along his grind cutter. But Alita is quickly knocked aside as Makaku reveals that all 5 of his fingers are grind cutters, not just the one. He goes on about how he could have killed her already, and this is something that makes Ito wonder, is Makaku in love with Alita? I have to say I'm not on board with this turn. This statement is kind of out of nowhere from Ito. I'm not opposed to Makaku having some twisted feelings for Alita, but calling it in love and bringing it up in this way is just kind of silly. Back to the fight. Makaku grabs baby Koyomi and starts making funny faces at her. This genuinely made me laugh. It's absurd. He threatens to eat Koyomi, and when Alita objects, he breaks open a hole in the floor, inviting her to come after him into the sewers and save the baby. I should note that the dog Fang immediately leaps after him to go after the baby. Now that's a good dog. The few surviving patrons of the bar jump for joy that Makaku has left, and they're somehow still alive. But Alita is staring after him with a look of fear on her face. She finds her resolve, though. Even though she knows it's a trap, she tells Ito it's her responsibility after talking up a big game to all those hunter warriors, and there's no way she can leave a baby to such a horrible fate. So Alita promises Koyomi's father, the bar owner, that she'll bring the baby back and takes the plunge. Okay, I actually like this little moment quite a lot. This could have been straightforward, with Alita immediately leaping after Makaku. Instead, we got this moment of fear and Alita acknowledging the situation. She's not fearless, and she knows it's a trap, but Alita goes anyway because she knows what's important and what's at stake. It goes to show how a little moment can make a character seem both smart and principled. So it turns out the scrapyard sewers are a lot more cavernous than you would expect. It makes you wonder just how structurally sound a lot of those buildings up above are. Alita does not have a smooth landing. She bounces off some sort of broken pillar or pipe, and stops herself by stabbing it with a single finger. But the whole thing then falls into what I will optimistically call water. It's a surprisingly slapstick start to this confrontation, actually. Up above, Ito is frustrated by what little he can do. The bartender, it occurs to me we still don't know his name, is understandably out of his mind with worry and wants to know if Alita even has a chance. Ito doesn't think Alita's Panzerkunst, her cyborg martial arts, will be enough to beat Makaku's grindcutters, but her berserker body has a battle mode that may save her. Its activation is tied to the basal ganglia, the instinctive part of the brain tied to muscle movement, so only Alita's survival instincts will be able to activate it. Meanwhile, Alita shakes herself off like a dog. Surprisingly, it works. Kishiro has a way of making sure you don't take these life or death situations too seriously. She starts her search through this strange underworld, which involves seeing some things I'd rather not think about in that water. Alita is briefly overcome. She's afraid, but somehow she feels truly alive for the first time. Now that could be her berserker body activating, like Ito just said, but I think the more thematic thing going on here is about facing danger, not fearlessly, but despite fear, and for the right reasons. Speaking of reasons, soon Alita hears Koyomi crying. Realizing it's a trap, soon she's dodging ultrasonic grindcutters as Makaku emerges from the water. And so our villain takes the time to explain that this place is what remains of a great city, and it's where he grew up, subsisting on the runoff corruption from the scrapyard as the scrapyard subsists on the refuse of Zalem. Alita manages to get hold of the baby, which seems to trigger something in Makaku. See, apparently, his mother gave birth to him in a toilet and immediately flushed him away. It's several de-brained bodies and one kidnapped baby too late for me to feel sorry for Makaku, but I will point out the parallel being made here. Alita herself is a cast-off, having been consigned to a trash heap before Ito found her. But Makaku doesn't wax sentimental for more than a second, as he notes Alita can't move around as fast while holding Koyomi, because she apparently has been moving so fast that a baby could be hurt just by moving the speed of her dodging. Because laws of inertia are apparently where this story of a cyborg martial arts girl fighting chainsaw whips engages in realism. But their bacon is saved by Fang. This wonder dog launches at Makaku's face and rips Alita's old arm out of his eye socket, which has been stuck there all this time. Makaku reels and snacks on some brains he's been saving, for the endorphins, I guess. Alita gives Fang the praise he deserves and hands off Koyomi so he can carry her to safety, and she'll be free to fight. Makaku lashes out, but Alita retaliates with 2 fingers and cuts off his arm. She takes a moment to put on some war paint, which just seems to be some sort of tar, I guess, and tells Makaku that she's his opponent, as her arm bursts into flame. How that works is something that will be fully explained in the next chapter. So that's chapter 5. At the beginning, it's sort of a false start to the actual battle between Alita and Makaku, but it establishes that Makaku is still a significant obstacle for her despite her new body. Then she gets a chance to affirm her resolve in the face of fear and saves a baby, so without any bystanders in danger, she can finally go toe-to-toe with Makaku. Alita gets to engage in some old-fashioned heroics here, literally saving a baby and getting help from a friendly dog. This could be a Saturday morning cartoon if the villain wasn't snacking on severed heads. I very much like the upbeat tone of this chapter, building Alita up and starting to reveal that battle mode Ito was talking about. This is also the start of Alita's famous war paint, which she'll wear in different forms throughout the series, though it'll mostly be metal later. That's it for Chapter 5. Though we're nearing the end of the first volume, we're not quite to the end of the fight with Makaku yet. Next is Chapter 6, where we'll learn the secrets of Alita's berserker body. Until then, have a nice day.